Hello, my name is Sean Keenan and I run mzpstudios.com, and we are a character modeling service along with rigging, sculpting, and texturing. And in this tutorial for CG Tuts Plus, I'm going to show you how to customize your Zbrush user interface so that it's very user friendly and very proficient, so that you can get a lot of work done fairly fast. So whenever you open up Zbrush, by default you get the default loading screen or the default UI layout, and this is fine, and Zbrush has done an excellent job here, whereas everything is organized properly. But for me, this just isn't I don't want to say it's just not proficient for what I do. I like to try to keep basically all my tools basically through one click in terms of finding them or using them, or I just basically try to get all the tools that I'm going to use onto the interface so that I can simply just click it once and I don't have to actually go looking for things. And so it's real easy to go ahead and basically customize your user UI so that you can get all this stuff done. And the easiest way and the most efficient way is to probably just do it yourself. If you Google search, you can probably find fairly good UIs, and then just customize it through from there. But for me, I'll go ahead and build my own here, and I'll show you exactly how I've gone about and done it. And the first thing that we need to do is we need to come up here to Preferences, okay, and we need to come out under the Config Layout, and we need to enable Customize. This allows us to go ahead and build our user UI or our UI, and then we can go ahead and customize it and place things where we need them and just go from there. So let's go ahead and click this, and as you can see, the standard UI changes into a rollout so that you can actually customize and place things that you want onto the UI. So with that done, let's go ahead and come up here to the Load Next User Interface Layout tool, and we're going to go ahead and click this one, probably two, so that we can have some semblance of a layout here. And as you can see, we have our some brushes that are basically already placed in the UI, and some tools that are basically placed in the UI here. And what we're going to do now is basically we're going to go ahead and change the background color and place all the tools that we want at our disposal in a very quick and easy way, so we actually don't have to go searching for them, or tools that I use a lot so that I don't actually have to go searching for them. So if you want to basically click and drag stuff off the user interface, or you want to get rid of stuff, all you need to do is hit Control Alt and then just click and drag it into the viewport, and then it disappears. But if you want to basically place things into the UI so that they stay, you're basically going to do the same thing, and you can see where you can actually drag them and then just place them anywhere that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up our UI here a little bit, and then I'll go ahead and start customizing as I want. So I don't really need all of these brushes. Some of them I will keep because I will go ahead and tend to use some of these brushes, but for a couple I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of them. And I'm just hitting Control Alt and basically just dragging them into the viewport so that they go away. I'll just go ahead and organize these as I want here. And as you can see, if you keep like moving these up, the UI will eventually just get larger, and parts of the UI will basically just get larger. So we'll go ahead and I want that poly frame, And over here I'm gonna go ahead and put some of the menu items in here so that I can simply just go like that to keep them over there, because I really don't use the right side here. I tend to use the left side more, so I'll just go ahead and we'll just close that one. Oh, I grabbed the wrong one there. And I'm just grabbing it with this little three-quarter circle and arrow icon to go ahead and move them over to where I want them here. And I'm just dragging and placing things where I want them. And it's just easier if I, let's say if I want to add materials here, it's easier just to basically move these, not from here, but if you place them over here and then you just select a color that you want, or a material that you want, which is this matte cap green clay here, just Control Alt and basically just move it over and place it where you want it. You can't do it from here because if you try to drag that icon, it's just going to be way too big and it's just not going to look right. So it's good to basically make the side here larger, but I don't really want to do that. So I want the icons to be fairly small, but I mean, if you do that, you can go ahead and get two materials side by side, but I don't want to have this extremely large icon in here, and so I'll just go ahead and delete that off. But since we have a larger UI space there, we can go ahead and do that, and I can go ahead and actually do that here as well, so that I have a little bit more room to go ahead and place more tools. And it's basically easier to take it out of the menu rather than over here, rather than taking it actually up here, because every time that you go ahead and take it from up here, it's basically just going to close again. So it's just easier to keep it over here, and then I can simply just keep, you know, dragging and placing it into the UI as I want. So oops, I pressed the wrong button there. And it just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of patience to go ahead and customize your UI as you want it. And as you can see, I have a bunch of different materials that I've taken from the Pixologic site and drag them into the startup folder of Zbrush here. And I'm just going to go ahead and select materials that I want and just place them onto the UI here. I mean, there's nothing real secretive of what I'm doing here. And I'm just using this as materials that I'll use a lot to not only check shadows or check out check different looks on in terms of, you know, if the shadows are working properly, or if the lights are reacting well to the character. It's just these are gonna basically be easier to see, so that's all I'm doing here. I'll place a couple more in terms of what I like to use here. Now, since I have those ones in there and I'm happy with that, I'll go ahead and stop that. Actually, I'll have to reopen it so I can make that large enough. Well, I'll have to do that. And just place that until I can start placing some of my other sculpting brushes in here. Okay, there we go. And then we'll go ahead and start customizing the bottom part of the user interface here. This is obviously our intensity, our RGB intensity. This will be our draw size. I mean, there's always a shortcut with the spacebar to go ahead and make it there, but sometimes I don't really like to hit the spacebar, or tend to hit the spacebar in general, and so I'll just, you know, keep it here at the bottom. Bring our focus shift down. Make sure we bring our Z sub and Z add here so that we're in the right mode. We'll go ahead and reopen this. Take our transform over here so I can grab all everything I'm going to need here. Go ahead and grab our snapshot tool. Bring our poly frame here. Bring our stroke type there. I think that's all I need from there. And we definitely need our Go Z tools here. And as you can see, it just takes a little bit of time to go ahead and get our stuff the way set up the way that we want here. And this is where it's probably going to be easier to go ahead and load just a basic Z tool here so that everything's not grayed out. So just go ahead and bring the dog in and hit T so that it's in edit mode. And this way I can go ahead and select brushes that I know I'm going to need, which include the Damien standard brush here. I'll go ahead and place that. We have the clay brush there, we have the standard brush there. We're probably going to need the pinch brush, which is already over there. The move brush is over there as well. I don't really need to add the smooth brush because the smooth through ZBrush is simply done with if you hit shift on your keyboard. So I don't need to actually add that to the interface. I'm going to add the inflate tool here, or the inflate stroke. And the key is just basically, you know, place tools that that you know you use on a lot instead of having to actually going and looking for them. I think that's okay for our brushes for now. And now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and change the actual background here, so we don't have this gradient in the viewport. And the easiest way to do that is come up here to your document, and you want to adjust this range so that it's 0, and that way you don't have any range on the viewport background, so that there's no gradient. And as you can see, if we just simply select our materials here over on the side, you can go ahead and change your materials, you know, pretty quickly. Same with your brush strokes. If you just hit smoother, you can see it basically smooths out. And this isn't a sculpting tutorial, so that doesn't really bother me. I'm just basically building the user interface here. And I'm trying to keep it somewhat minimal in terms of, and just trying to basically keep it clean here, so that everything's basically at my disposal and very quickly. I'm going to go ahead and change the document size here, which is basically my monitor size. Go ahead and T, and then Control N to clear the viewport, and then I'll just hit save as startup doc, so that this will load each time that we go ahead and load Zbrush. And we'll see if there's anything else that I actually want to go ahead and put on the user interface. And for right now, I mean, this is pretty good for me. This will pretty much be my user interface in terms of layout, so I can go ahead and get stuff done pretty quickly. And with that, I think I'll actually call that a lesson. And you've seen that we can pretty much customize the ZBrush user interface fairly quickly. You can have it done to where it'll fit your sculpting style and your needs properly. You do have a lot of basic user interfaces if you just go ahead and press each one of these buttons. I think there's 5 or 6 of them. And then if we want to go ahead and save our UI, we would just hit Save UI under the Preferences menu here. But you want to turn that off, or I'm sorry, hit Store Config before you would go ahead and turn off the Enable Customize button. And then I'll show you what my custom user interface actually looks like, which is this. And then we'll go to Preferences here, Config, and then we want to store our config, which is this one. And this is my custom user interface, and I'll include this with the tutorial. But in this tutorial, as you can see, you can customize stuff very quickly and get your layout looking the way that you want it, so that you actually don't have to go around and searching for stuff. Not that ZBrush is known for being very complicated. It's fairly simple in terms of the default layout that it comes with. But like for me, like I said earlier, you can, you know, basically have all your stuff at pretty much your disposal and real close to your disposal, so that you actually don't have to go and look for everything. And I want to say thanks to Ben Tate for allowing me to go ahead and do this tutorial for you guys. And if you keep your eye on the site, you will see more tutorials for ZBrush coming in the future. And thanks for watching.